Good afternoon. Welcome back to our regular meeting for the afternoon of March 19th. And we'll start our afternoon with our public hearings and a public meeting and bid openings from Public Works.
I figured with as many people in the room, there'd be a staff.
I'm going to take 1 second while we're passing out paperwork and deviate a little bit. I have a special participant on Zoom this afternoon. I need to say hello to Grant. So thank you.
Okay.
My grandson
Oh.
is watching.
So pressure's on, don't mess up.
I know.
Okay, I think I got it. Okay, we are opening bids on the Sundale Old Highway 8 CRP 359. Engineer's estimate is $4,342,537. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 bids. And I will start with James Dean Construction. Addendum 1 has been acknowledged. Bid bond is present. Total bid of $4,299,308.25. Okay. Next, we have a bid from North Cascade Excavating from Woodland, Washington. And James Dean Constructions from White Salmon, Washington. The addendum is acknowledged. Bid bond is present. Bid price is upside down. Total bid $4,764,279.50. Next up, we have Midway Underground from Toledo, Washington. The addendum is acknowledged. Bid bond is present. Total bid of $4,122,534.50.
Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we have Granite Construction Company from Vancouver, Washington. Addendum is acknowledged. Bid bond is present. Total bid of $7,489,048. Next up, we have Thompson Bros Excavating from Vancouver, Washington. Addendum is acknowledged. Bid bond is present. Total bid of $5,398,949. $5,398,949. Next up, we have Care Contractors from Woodburn, Oregon. Addendum is acknowledged. Bid bond is present. Total bid of $5,529,480.25. And last, we have Swolford Excavating from Washougal, Washington. Addendum is acknowledged. Bid bond is present. Total bid of $4,988,121. And that is all of our bids. If you would entertain a motion, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I would move that we remand these bids to the Public Works Department for review and recommendation.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Motion passes. So they are back to you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, so we are going to declare a public hearing open for the granting of a franchise agreement between Klickitat County and Clit. Oh, we have other bid openings
we've got-
first. Oh, you guys had a stack. Okay, I'll take that back then for a few minutes.
Got it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hopefully, when we get around to hearing your recommendation on this, we get a full cost breakdown of how much is state, how much is county. That kind of thing. That would help.
Do you want to
Yep.
Okay,
bring it up and then I'll talk about it?
so we're going to open bid openings for Public Works for a pickup truck purchase.
Okay, we have a 2024 pickup purchase. Engineer's estimate is $238,650.
Can you, before we start, can you entertain me what kind of a pickup and what kind of bells and whistles are on this fancy thing?
So we're looking for more like a fleet pickup. So it's got no carpeting. We got vinyl flooring. V8 is what we specified.
It's gonna have
Four
truck
door.
box
Yep.
or
No, just regular bed. Nothing special on it. A lot like the pickups you see parked out here, just,
I was just curious of the engineer's estimate compared to.
How many pickups is this for? I think is what he really wants to ask.
4 pickups. I'm sorry, 4.
That's awfully special.
Next
Why
thing you know,
is
we're
this
getting a
so
$5 million bid for one pickup. Road was enough. Thank you.
Mhm.
I just wanted clarification.
Okay, first bid is from Columbia Gorge Toyota and Honda from the Dells. All right, four pickups for the total price, total bid of $241,738.60. And thank you for writing those down.
Next question I have is when were you hoping to receive these and get them in service?
We have a requirement of 3 months from day of awarding.
Okay. got it.
Okay,
Thank you.
our next one is for CH Ernest Motor Company from the Dalles. Okay. Total bid, $184,330.
Looking for myself. Did you request bids on specific makes of pickup or they could be?
No, we
Would you
just had
like
a
me
list
to
of.
read the makes?
I was gonna look back through them to find them out, but yeah.
I'll let you know
Okay.
So you can look.
This one is Toyota Tundra for those that,
Okay, next one is from C-Spec Motors from Sunnyside, Washington. Total bid for the Chevy Silverado is $260,926. Madam Chair, if you'd entertain a motion.
Yes, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion to review these bids, to send them back to Public Works for review and recommendation.
I will second the motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Right,
Aye. Those opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
My goodness. This is the day I should have been on the road.
So now we'll be doing a bid opening for liquid asphalt.
All right, we have a bid opening for the 2024 liquid asphalt engineer's estimate of $547,560. We have three bidders. Our first bid is Albina Asphalt from Vancouver, Washington. Total bid, $451,101.50. Next up, we have Idaho Asphalt Company from Hauser, Idaho. We have a total bid of $574,445.56. Next up, we have Ergon Asphalt and Emulsions from Pasco, Washington. We have a total bid of $445,893. Oh, well.
Mhm.
If you would entertain a motion.
I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we return these bids to the Public Works Department for a review and recommendation.
Second motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
No, other than I'm happy with the bids.
So hearing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you.
My stress level on the first bids went up here and now they came kind of back down here, so.
So we will now have a public hearing. Great. Come on up, Jeff. It's you this time.
I just wanted to take time to announce and meet, so the board meets and sees a face. This is our new equipment supervisor, Jalen
Nice.
Latigus.
To meet you.
Congratulations on your promotion. I hope it's all you ever dreamed it to be.
So we will open the public hearing for granting a franchise agreement between Klickitat County and Click Networks LLC. The hearing is closed from taking any further public testimony. Clarifying statements, staff and questions of staff from the board.
How did we come to the resolution with the PUD? Which is why we're on hold until today.
So we talked to the PUD and there was a little bit of misunderstanding, but we did change some things to make it clearer. And so we put a portion in, and of course, this thing doesn't have any page numbers, so you go past the French Exhibit A, the next page from where it says this agreement on, that's new. Essentially what it does, it clarifies they were concerned that somebody could just work around their power lines and attach stuff. We're giving them permission, and that was never our intent. So we just clarified it. We ran it by them, ran it by our PA. And so this is what the new one looks like.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Mr. Anderson.
I have no questions. Would you like
So,
to close the public hearing?
Yes, so we'll move down to going ahead and closing the public hearing. And I'll entertain a motion. Is that where we?
You want to?
I don't care. Madam Chair, I'd move that we adopt and approve the Click Network LLC franchise agreement.
I will second the motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Thank you for your work and going back and working with the PUD.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes for the franchise agreement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there something we didn't have? I thought there might have been something we didn't get to.
No, I don't think so. I think we caught everything in the morning. So we are moving to Planning Department update. Rebecca is with us. Yeah, thank you.
Huh? Oh, short plat.
Yep.
All right. Actually, feels so much better coming in after that versus public comments before. So we have final approval for short plat SPL 2023-13. Applicants are Juris Properties LLC. The short plat number is SPL 2023-13 is proposal to create two lots in parcel 06201400000100. The proposed plat is located within a portion of section 14, township 6, range 20, Willamette Meridian, Klickitat County, Washington, in the Bickleton vicinity. The administrative review of the short plat has been completed. Signatures have been obtained from the Road, Health, Planning Departments, and the Treasurer's Office. All conditions attached to the preliminary approval have been met. If the board finds that it's in the public's interest to approve the short plat, a motion needs to be made granting final approval of SPL 2023-13.
Any questions from the board?
I'm thinking.
I didn't have any questions.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, no questions.
No questions. I would entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I would move that we approve short plat SPL 2023-13, application Juris Properties LLC.
I will second the motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Hearing none, the short plat SPL 2023-13 passes. Thank you.
Yeah, bringing in one's probably funner for you than bringing in like six, huh?
Yes.
It's gotten better. Yeah, got through that load of them, which is nice.
I was gonna say, it's kind of been all quiet on the western front here.
These just got, that did not come on ago, so a couple weeks ago, switch it out for things to move along.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 months, right?
I think it will. This is
Don't they freeze it December, January, February, right? Oh, 3.
So does anyone have new business? I have one on them.
Go ahead.
So I think I'll stash this under new businesses where I'll bring it up. During lunchtime, I was notified by the PA of some differences in rule changes. And since all the COVID restrictions have expired, we can no longer have a online meeting without a public access room for the public at least to attend in the room. So this evening for the Zoom meeting, we will have the building open and available in this room if someone would like to attend. We will not be able to do comment. We didn't set it up that way, but you can communicate if you have questions through using your cell phone or chat and submit those questions just like everybody else will do on Zoom. Go ahead.
And I was just writing Lou another email. My thought is if anybody shows up in person, because it sounds like Commissioner Christopher thinks that people might, we can have a piece of paper in the back where they can write their questions down, bring it up to Elisa, and then she can submit that in a question into the comment so that Lou gets it. And so that was my thought.
Much easier way to work. Sure, that works, Mr. Christopher.
The only thing I have to say is that's a very interesting interpretation of the new code, but
And going forward, I asked the question, if we are able to eventually get the Facebook Live going, we would have to offer that option too. For those who can't be on Facebook, they would be able to walk into a room where we could provide them with
But
access.
we are not required to be in the room.
Correct. We are not required to be.
But there has to be a place for them to
Correct.
be able to view it.
I believe the way that code is written is if somebody requests the space because they are hearing impaired or whatever, then you have to provide the space. There's more to that caveat. It has to be requested. And to my knowledge, it has not been requested.
So it's under the Open Public Meetings Act that this requirement that a physical meeting location where people can attend is the requirement.
So you have that confirmed in yours. Okay. Okay. Well, that kept us safe today from crossing a line.
So when we open the meeting, then I think we will just have to mention that, you're welcome in person. If you would like to be, commissioners won't be in person. We'll be on our computers so that it'll have kind of like this, it'll have all 4 of us pictures up there. And then it won't have like the room or anything.
I guess that raises a new concern for me. And that is one of staff safety and staff comfort.
Well, and I took a late afternoon meeting since I was up here, so I would commit to stay in the room. I'll be live on my computer, but I would sit in the room with staff. I would be glad to stay over.
So one thing to make sure of though is if you're sitting in the room, then you can't have two of them, otherwise you'll get feedback from your computers. So
Okay.
that was why I was saying, like, you could be in your office,
Okay.
you could do it that way, but this was supposed to be online only. There's a place for people to come and then it creates that separation. I'm not overly worried. I don't know
But-
how staff feels.
But I guess again, I'm not worried how you feel the safety is.
So that's why I was
I'm
asking.
worried about staff because even if Commissioner Zoller is in her office, if Lou is in his office, you essentially are assigning one or two staff to be in here with who knows how many people. And you won't have these cameras on. So how are you monitoring the scenario?
Staff isn't worried.
Pardon?
Yeah, it would have to be recorded.
Yeah, you don't have to have your camera on to be recorded. Yeah, like you could turn the cameras off right
Yeah.
now.
You will
just-
be
It'll be
recording
recorded.
our camera in our office or our house,
Yeah,
not the
so
camera in this room.
My thought is, what you do is, in each of us, all four of us, you have your video. Stop video, but you don't record the meeting, so it'll still be online. And then if anybody.
So for
fills it out-
instance, you're now seeing my face up there. I'm sorry to everybody that has to witness it. Your cameras would be shut off and it would be my face, Jake's face, Lori's face, and Lou's face, hopefully all pinned in a 4x. I would have all four pinned.
Yeah,
but,
that's what I said.
or you can just have Lou and the commissioner in question, but then you're constantly switching who's pinned. But then again, the talking one, whoever's talking should be showing. And if you stop talking, you go away and the next person talking pops up if you have it on speaker. Whatever
I
the
was
speaker
thinking it'd
view.
be simpler if it's just pinned, so that they're all four there, so that then you don't have to do anything. If somebody actually shows up and writes a question, you're not worried about moving stuff.
Yeah, no, that works. As I said, speaker view works as well, because whoever's talking has more of a picture on the Zoom. So people can be able to read facial expressions, I guess. With that, I'm gonna shut my video off, so y'all have to stop looking at me again.
Anyone else? So we got that? Good. Okay, moving forward then. We'll move to unfinished business with planning or with Building Department Director Lynn Ward. And not planning.
Thank you for bringing it up. I was gonna bring it up later if you had.
Okay.
I didn't receive that memo, so I wouldn't have brought it up.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. I'll start with the question. Did you have any direction for me on researching? Or were you ready to have the conversation on researching what appropriate setbacks should be for building permits for solar? We had brought that up at the public hearing, and then last week I was gone.
I think
If
that,
we're not ready to discuss it, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure I was not
It's
holding
my
anyone up.
hope that the board will eventually take action and assign the duties to the planning commission
Okay.
to set that, and then we can adopt what they set. Building can adopt what they set planning wise.
So there's a difference.
that way
between
you have a-
Building and planning though. I mean, one is zoning, setbacks, all this. Building is a whole different.
And I mean, as of now, I will just go by what my
Planning.
codes say.
Yeah, your code had, your internal code, we could set setbacks from individual buildings, which is a lot more difficult to do in zoning code, and the planning commission has no control over you. They are-
Right,
they
right.
are-
And
So are you
I,
looking at, are you asking us to
it was something that
continue
was,
discussion on the actual setback of an actual solar panel? Or on the building that they're using to store their lawn and garden equipment?
I will go with what my code says for each scenario unless you all are wanting me to look up and research something
I
different.
think the idea was, if, and tell me if I'm wrong, that, so what she has is group, is it H?
It's F or H
H, yeah,
or
the hazardous
it's
one,
going to
okay.
depend on what's in that structure.
Right, but we're
And when I
primarily,
get something, I'll review it as to what,
primarily talking about structures that may contain battery storage systems.
Correct.
And so the
and I will just
question,
go with what my code says.
which is 75 feet.
Okay,
So that's right now, but the question was, is did we want to have a workshop in the
Correct.
future that allows staff to go and review other setbacks, other places in the building codes to see if there's somewhere else, somebody else has set one that's different? There, I've seen, and I did a little bit of research, and I saw some that were, 200 feet, 300 feet, but that was primarily in planning. That wasn't from building. I didn't get a chance to look at the building, but the idea was to have staff look to see if anybody else who's dealt with this, the BESS stuff, has set building code setbacks further
And
for.
prior to spending a lot of time doing it, I wanted to see if that was still what you wanted me to do or not pursue that at this time.
I would like to hear from your research, have you do that and see what other people have done with their building code in regard to this. Because the planning effort with the planning commission to get us through that, that we're gonna have to see what kind of time that takes. And if we can adjust the building code to make things safer, even if things come differently out of planning commission, then we can readjust.
Right.
So
And my
whatever we can
permit
do
would
now.
list this, the most stringent
Okay,
rule
because for me,
anyway.
75 feet is too close.
Right,
So
right. 'Cause
I would
didn't
like to
know-
see
yeah,
what your
okay.
options are.
Right.
I will
Yeah,
still
and
do
if you find
research.
that it's done somewhere else, make sure you get the code and the language so that at least
Mhm.
we've got the findings of fact and everything else that we
Okay,
can steal from them. Is that work for you, Commissioner Christian?
Yes, I agree. I think long-term, I want battery storage before the planning commission.
Mhm.
But I also think that we have an opportunity to protect in the current building code. So yeah, I would be curious. I would be kind of curious how many of them actually have anything more than the basic 75 feet, because to my knowledge, there may not be any anywhere in the county that they've ever had to deal, or in the state that they've ever had to deal with. So they may have unedited language, just like you had unedited language, and you may find nothing.
Believe there's a large one that's either already went in, that's in Umatilla or Hermiston area that you might want to.
As I said, she might have to go out of
Yeah,
state.
I was assuming you'd have to go out. of state.
Prineville.
Yep, yep. You're gonna have to go even Arizona,
Mhm.
kind of scenario.
But before I spent all the time, I wanted to make sure that's what you still wanted me to do, so.
And I don't remember seeing it. I looked at some other things in it, but did the Washington State WSU study for sensitive siding have any information about setbacks for buildings and things? I think it
Not
was all
that-
land use.
Yeah,
based.
most of everything that I've read is more specific to the zoning and the land
Okay.
use
Yeah,
side.
and protecting the grazing and the prime water, and
Okay.
nobody really's got into batteries yet, because it's 2 years behind the solar argument.
It's, and the code is behind that,
Mhm.
so. But, okay, I just wanted to verify before I started working on it. So my staff report,
Other thing that potentially to be looking for in not just solar for batteries, I guess you can look at counties or areas that have car battery manufacturing or storing as well, because it's going to be the same type of battery.
right, right.
That might give you a little more options than trying to find some solar farm with a battery. So
That's true, yeah.
lithium ion battery storage is probably easier than
Yeah.
solar battery storage to try to find some code on.
Right, right.
It's all lithium
Yeah.
ion, so that might help you search.
Kind of broaden that idea. Alrighty. So I gave you all information. as a department, we've talked with the board, is pushed it and we've talked about it and then never really committed to it because you get busy and sidetracked. So we created a cross-training tracker and we've been focusing on that. And as we do it, we are entering it into that tracker so that we're holding ourselves accountable to
Good.
actually doing it. So I wanted to share that with you, so you could see that we're actually making progress, in doing that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No,
Good job.
yeah.
Did you share this with any other departments?
Well, if they want it, we will. If they ask, we would happily share it. This year has started actually way better than anticipated. With our numbers so far, we're like, okay, that's great. So I included those just so you could see that we've had a good start to 24. And I've heard of a few commercial projects that we haven't had applied for, but if they pop up in another month or two, then they will definitely keep us busy. And an update on our Chevy Colorado. We have not been using it because we don't know when it will decide to not run anymore. We did the repairs that we thought it was. That did not help at all. The shop that we had that done at, he hooked it up to the diagnostic that he has available. And he said his best guess is an oil pump or something in the engine, but without going to the Chevy dealer, we don't really know, but it could be very expensive.
Year, number of miles?
It is a 2016 and it's like 153,000 or something.
Okay. That makes me feel better because I don't like,
Extra
it
one
could
over that
be.
one.
Yeah.
We just ran into the vehicle, the 2015 Explorer that didn't hook up to the OBD2 connector. Turns out to be a fuse.
Right, yeah.
I like professional diagnosis is not, it could be.
Yeah.
But at 153,000 miles,
It's over 150,000.
I'm good.
So we used the life out of the poor thing. We do need 2 vehicles to continue providing the level of service that the citizens are accustomed to, as well as not having the primary inspector in the summer, especially do, 12-plus-hour days to try to hit all the inspections they would like to have during the basically short building season that we do get around here. Last year, the average miles traveled for inspections per month was 2,654. We can't rely on smaller vehicles to get us up and down the roads because sometimes they are brand new roads that only have that base rock. We're kind of there at the very beginning a lot of times and we don't get the good driveways to drive on. So we always get the better tires and the better clearance because a lot of times you are bouncing up a pretty rustic road. I have been doing a lot of looking and calling and talking to dealerships. The availability of vehicles is still pretty limited. You have to order in the fall where you used to order in the spring. So I am relying upon what's on the lot. That being said, my preference would be a Dodge Ram, not a Ford Bronco, which I can get within my available funds of 42,000.
Ford Bronco has the same ground clearance as the Ford Explorer,
Right,
which you're saying is inadequate, but
right.
but also I would have to do the research. In my brain, I can't imagine the Explorer and the Ram have more than about an inch difference. of
It's about an
drivetrain.
inch difference.
But it's also what abuse it'll take.
And the Ram, we haven't had to get fixed yet. We've done
As I
maintenance
said,
on it.
the Ram's good, the Bronco, I'm not signing that. because it'll
Exactly.
Be in the shop. every 3 days.
Exactly, and that is exactly my point is I am not comfortable and I don't think it's good spending of the citizens' tax money to buy a Bronco. I would like very much to pursue another Dodge Ram. That is over what we have available in the one fund. So I did visit with Jen and she said that would require borrowing from the replacement vehicle fund for the existing Ram. I am willing to take that gamble because I would rather good use of funds and buy something that is going to hold up better and hopefully delay replacing, for a year, 2, 3 years, because we have 2 vehicles that were not wearing out prematurely.
Clarification question. So the truck, the Colorado that has issues and has 153,000 miles, it should be fully maxed out on its VR&R fund balance to buy a replacement. Is it not?
It is, but I have 42,000 in that fund.
Oh, so we weren't putting enough away in that fund for,
Correct.
okay, 'cause
And
that's
and
the other thing
so-
going forward that I'm going to, when it comes to budget time, when you guys are putting money into VR&R, I want you to call and find out what an actual replacement vehicle costs, so we're putting the right number.
And that is
But
the
that
exact,
changes over the 7 years.
right, that's the conversation.
Every year,
You wanna
you
call
should
every
be
year.
updating
Yes.
that number on the replacement cost of the vehicle so that you're putting in the correct dollar
Yes, and that's the conversation I had with Jen.
or a guesstimate.
Yes, and she said vehicle prices went up so rapidly that a lot of departments got caught off guard, mine being one of them. So at the end of this year, when we're preparing for next year, we're upping that fund a great deal. And then every year we'll add a good percentage to it just because we have seen those prices rise.
Right, I just want them accurate numbers, not, I don't want to inflate it either.
Exactly, but I would go to the state site, see what current prices are.
Done, and that's the
Mhm,
number.
Exactly. So there are a couple of vehicles, if I obtain permission to borrow from the other vehicle fund to cover the difference, is 2023s that I could potentially look at instead of a 24. Because a 24 is $15,000 over what I have available. Where a 23, the ones that they have left on the lot to get rid of, one is a police vehicle and one is a fire truck. So it's red, not white. It's one that a fire district could buy. So I have options of red or white. But they are only, one is 5,193 more and the other one is 5,061 more. I would need to borrow that from the other fund, which has 11,000 in it.
I would think white,
White,
number one, even if it's more, because it matches the rest of the county.
yeah, it's actually less, I think, if I remember
Okay,
right.
two questions. Number one, have you thought about getting away from trucks and maybe going to like a Subaru that's got all-wheel drive and everything that gets like twice the fuel mileage?
I don't, there aren't any Subarus available. That's one. When I go
You
to
gotta
the
get
state
people
site
my
right
size
now,
in a Subaru.
Huh?
You gotta get people my size in a Subaru.
There's Subarus, they put people your size and
I
Subarus.
did
It's a
contemplate
shoehorn and a
it.
gallon of Crisco,
Yes,
maybe.
I did contemplate it. There aren't any available right now when I go to the state's site.
When you go to the state site.
Right.
Okay.
And I would like to get something sooner rather than later because we have summer coming. This week I could have potentially sent out 2 people. And we know that with the bigger projects coming up, we're gonna need the availability.
Did you know that we have a motor pool that you can borrow vehicles from?
I did, but the one time we borrowed a vehicle, it was too low and we couldn't get up for road.
What vehicle?
It was the Chevy
Reverse?
Verse, yes.
There,
Well, we checked one out and then we worked around it. But
So we've
Or
covered
does someone
why
have
you
a
need to
truck I
replace
could
the
borrow?
one truck.
mhm,
You're asking for a second truck? in
we've
your
always
fleet?
had
Or
2
are you,
vehicles.
okay,
And so I'm asking to purchase my second vehicle because the Chevy Colorado is our second vehicle. And it needs replaced. And that is the one that I am needing and
what's the
asking.
other vehicle being replaced?
The Dodge is not. The Dodge is our new vehicle,
Okay, so you currently have 2 vehicles
correct? One is not functioning.
and you want to remove the one that's not functioning and add 2 more vehicles,
No, just one.
this one.
But I want to borrow money from the Dodge fund
I see, okay.
to replace the Chevy.
by question number 2, thank you very much, Madam Chair. We just got bids today for 4 vehicles. that came in at the low bid was $46,082.50 versus 57,000, which is a $10,000 savings. My next question would be is could we just add one more vehicle to that purchase order through Public Works? Maybe get it down a little bit more by adding another vehicle.
I have no idea.
Well, and if you remember right, their vehicles were coming with boxes and
Maybe
So
we
it
can
might
get it down
be-
even more.
I'm aware. I think it comes down to what we buy and how base bone, because if you remember, they're base boning, so they probably have vinyl seats, vinyl floor. What she's looking at probably has cloth seats, probably has cloth floor, probably has heated seats.
And I don't know because they're the ones on the lot. We don't need cloth. I mean, vinyl's better for us
Would be
because
where
we're
to go.
muddy. We're kind of in the same conditions as Public Works. Where when Gene is out doing a footing inspection, he's getting into the truck with mud on his feet. And we have no choice when the weather's bad.
But you don't know when you asked for the estimate,
Oh, we gave them it.
what they had,
Weren't they?
what vehicle that was or what options it had or.
When I got the estimate, he sent me the estimates based upon what is on the lot that I can get now. And it is what it is, because you can't order right now. If I ordered, I'd order bare bones.
Yeah,
base
well, you can't
vehicle.
order from the factory, but they still have, dealerships still have what they call a fleet program.
Correct, and
Where
that,
they get the vehicle from another dealer that does have vinyl seats and vinyl floor.
and that,
They just fleet transfer it to
and
their
that may be
dealership
an
and then
option,
send it to you.
but that's not the way I've done it, for like how Public Works does it. I've never done it that way. We've always gone off the state's availability site.
Okay, so it's not.
I
very-
don't know the process to tag on to them.
I think that we can go, you can go have a conversation with Jeff about potentially tagging on and adding another vehicle. I'm sure the company would be happy to do it.
Okay,
It is up to 3 months, is that's all they have. If you have to, borrow a vehicle for a little bit.
The
right.
only question I have is Public Works held to a different legal standard than our departments? And that's a legal question. Do we have to go through a different process where we have to buy it off the state list? Or I want to make sure we can piggyback legally.
Right, that's why I said, go have a conversation with Jeff and see if we can save at least
Yeah,
$10,000.
and I would have the conversation with Jeff, but also the prosecutor to make sure we can piggyback legally.
Okay,
And if we can do that to get you the replacement vehicle at a better number, even if we
Oh,
have
sure.
to suck a little out of the VR and I'm fine with it as long as we're not buying carpet and heated seats and everything else that the general public is gonna feel is not necessary.
well, and like some of these have a tow package. I'm like, I don't need a tow
Right.
package, but that's how they are. That's what's there available, so. But if I ordered one, it wouldn't have a tow package. I have no need for one. But yes, I can go visit with Jeff and then talk to the PA's office. and-
Yeah, but you might need to throw a truck box in there so they can have a tow strap and a set of jumper cables.
And
A fire
honest,
extinguisher and a shovel if they're the
Well,
first
and-
ones
and
out in
our-
the middle of nowhere.
Our crate of,
Yeah.
files for the day.
Measuring.
and honestly, if you've got a 4-wheel drive, I don't care if it's a Subaru, if it can't get up the driveway to get to the location, well, then guess what? Neither is anybody else, because they're
Right.
getting stuff delivered up that road.
And,
So
and the
if
thing
it's
is,
2-wheel
we,
drive, it's one
we
thing. but
make it up those roads, but those lighter weight vehicles structurally, we wear them out. I mean, that's kind of what we've experienced in the past. So a
Well,
little heavier
I-
duty, you get longer life.
My expert opinion. A Ford Explorer would work just fine. Now, if you want a truck, I can kind of get around that.
The Ford Explorers are more expensive.
I'm aware, and that's why I said I can get, well, other than we have one sitting out here.
Right,
So it's not necessarily more expensive in this case.
True.
but,
and if there's one to borrow and
there's-
like a
should be.
good vehicle I can borrow for the remainder of the year and then save money and do it next year, then that's great as well. But I don't want like a low
We,
Don't we
car.
have the old economic development or the net economic development?
That's what either George or Diana.
Oh, that's what they have right now. Okay.
Yeah.
what do we currently have in inventory out there? The minivan, the Tahoe and one Explorer? reverse.
Everybody checks out the 2017 score.
Of
Right.
course they do.
And so then it's hard to get. And I didn't know if the sheriff's department has a truck they're not using, or I
Ask Gene
have
how he
no
feels
idea.
about a Dodge Caravan.
The what?
Ask Gene how he feels about a Dodge Caravan.
Keep it on the asphalt, that would be.
Okay.
Okay, I think we got a plan.
Okay, so you want me to talk to Jeff, go from there?
See if you can piggyback, see what kind of numbers you can bring us back and, with less frills and if you get that accomplished, I'll probably be a good to go. And you just check something out until you can,
Okay,
um,
but we agreed,
get
no,
it.
no new Ford Bronco.
no Bronco.
I'm glad on that part. I
That-
wasn't okay with that.
That's kind of like ordering a Ford 6-liter diesel. That'd be a bad idea right now.
Yeah, so, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Why V8, by the way?
What?
Didn't you say you wanted a V8?
Yeah, because if we go to flat top, the poor little V6, going up to flat top is really steep. And, we
But you're
got
not
up it,
towing
but
anything.
no, but just going up the little Chevy Colorado, we got up to flat top, but it wasn't happy.
You're telling me,
You-
okay,
No, I mean, the
I'm trying
V8s
to figure
are,
out how a V6 does not have the torque.
to
the
get
V6.
Get up a
may.
hill.
Yes.
That's not, that doesn't have 1,000 pounds.
It's
of
not
drag.
towing a 5,000.
No,
pound
and the
trailer.
V6 might, but again, the V8s are what's on the lot. That's what's there.
They're also more fuel.
Yeah, so I'm trying to
Cost.
go by
How
what,
much do you want to
is
add to the
there?
fuel costs too?
Yeah, you're also now budgeted fuel costs, so you could be cheaper.
we get 20 to 22 in the one that we have.
You're going back to the Subaru if you keep it up.
I guarantee you I can take
I-
my 3.5
pitched that to-
V6
I
E-Tech
I
up
actually
that hill at
pitched that to
85
my
miles an
staff
hour.
first. Gene was like, no Subaru.
You're talking to a car guy here.
Yes, no, I was actually looking at a Subaru. I really was.
I'm not
But there
saying
aren't
Subaru.
any available right now.
Buy American. I'm fine with buy American.
I have a Subaru and I love it. so. But no, I'll
Let Public Works
talk to Jeff.
Thank you for talking to Jeff.
All right.
Finding out if we can.
No,
tack
that
on
would
to it.
be-
That would be a huge savings. That would
Yeah,
fix your
if
budget.
it
issue.
works, something I never thought of being able to do.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
perfect. All right. Any other questions before I leave?
Nope. Are you gonna have on your training program, are you gonna have? I mean, I totally see that you expect to have this done. Are you gonna have like a 3-month update on where you're at in the process? So you can keep track and we're gonna know that we're keeping track to make sure you're abiding by your timelines and your.
I can certainly do that. Our plan is to, keep it going. And then make sure that anything that someone has learned that they're doing frequently enough to remember it. Because you don't necessarily retain it just because you are shown it.
Right.
But yeah, we can add a column, even saying maintenance of,
To me,
and-
it's, you got your goals for training. I just want to be kept updated that you're finding the time to
Mhm.
continue on a monthly basis this.
no,
training
we
program.
would,
However you want to do
want to
this.
do like a quarterly update and I can show you the new list and.
Yeah, whenever you do your updates, that's
Okay,
2 months, 3 months, whatever, just make sure that's on the topic of you discussed.
We will do
Jean
that.
and Erica are making you look very good.
They are.
Okay.
We've,
Okay.
it's, when you get a new person that's the plans examiner, and then they don't get as much exposure on the inspection part, when they have to fill in, they feel I experienced it myself. You will feel like, oh my gosh, it's overwhelming. And it's like the more exposure they get to all aspects of it, then I think it helps. And this summer, we actually want Cindy and Megan to go out too.
Okay.
Because when they call for inspections, then they understand what someone's asking for.
Right. Yeah,
So we
no,
have
perfect.
something else coming up, so we're gonna move.
All
forward. Not
right.
to cut you short, but we could always visit a
Oh, no,
lot.
I'm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
got stuff to
What do we have?
Okay, I know you do. Mr. Anderson has a secondary meeting at
Oh.
2.
Yeah.
I didn't know if either of you wanted the link to that solar thing. It's the sites or whatever.
Yeah, I do.
Last
not.
legal review I
I
had,
do
the
not.
2 of us couldn't attend the same Zoom meeting, so
Well, I'm not talking, it's,
Right.
neither were we.
uh,
Okay, so there's no other miscellaneous reports or comments from anyone? Mr. Anderson, anything for you?
Anything else for tonight's meeting, starting at 7 o'clock? It's planned for an hour.
Okay,
And so probably try to sign on maybe 10 minutes early so that we get everything lined up for staff and everything.
The only other thing I could add is if potentially a commissioner wanted to do it in here, I don't believe you would get feedback as long as she's got those mics off.
okay.
Yes, if those, that, as long as there's not two of anything on.
Well, I think you can even have the Zoom there and I would have it here. You would get
Oh, yeah,
feedback.
you'd get feedback.
That close?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Interesting.
Okay, we'll
Play
test
it
it
by
out
ear.
and see what
Yeah.
happens. We'll give it a test drive. Okay, so I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
I would second the motion. Actually, hold on, let me say it right,
Yeah,
if you
let's
don't
say it
mind.
right.
Okay.
I
Madam,
will
Ch-
retract my vote.
thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion to recess the Board of County Commissioner meeting until 7 p.m. tonight, where we will be hosting an online town hall. Noting that anyone from the public who wishes to attend in person in the room will be open. If you would like to ask questions, you would need to fill out the question, then hand it to Elisa. I would also mention that after that, the commissioners will be participating in a radio interview with KLCK on March 21st, 2024 at 8:05 a.m. And we also have a workshop from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m., 9 a.m. on Thursday, the 21st.
I will second the motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
I
Aye. Those opposed?
only heard two eyes.
Oh, aye.
I heard you. I didn't.
Oh, I
hear that.
heard Jake. Yeah,
Okay.
he was quiet. So motion passes. Thank you.
No, you've been very good at I.